Well, hello magical people. We are back. Because things are happening. Slowly. So we have the first teaser for the new Harry Potter TV series. Got the brace for this one. Was kind of looking forward to it. Kind of dreading it. Slightly. But anyway, we are here. So, there are two very different emotional journeys watching this trailer. My first one was of pensiveness. Don't screw this up. The second one was more emotional. As I knew it wasn't a complete mess. So, it wasn't a complete mess I was fearing. And they're very muted colours in this trailer. Now, what I've gone and done is I've gone and put it through Premiere and readjusted the trailer so it doesn't look quite so dark. I've also done the colour grading as well. So, where it is like blue and cold at the Dursleys to portray the Dursleys being a bit of a dump. And it's very warm when it hits Hogwarts, very creamy coloured. They use different colours a lot, especially in trailers, to convey a message. So in this case, I believe it's going from like hate to love, Harry being alone and without friends to having friends and, well, not being alone. So we start at the Dursleys. There's a picture of Dudley on the wall as a baby. There's lots of pictures of Dudley on the wall in the books. And also the movies. But this is most likely set when Vernon hears random people talking about the Potters when Harry's parents die the following day, where Voldemort is defeated. In the books, we have a whole chapter dedicated to where Vernon goes to work, and there's lots of strange people about celebrating. There's shooting stars and owls in the news, and Professor McGonagall is outside their house all day in her cat form. Animagus form. So keep an eye out for that detail in episode 1. It could also be the morning when they open the door to find Harry there. Scene isn't in the books. It just kind of stops there in the books. And then we jump forward. The morning when they open the door is the following morning to when Vernon hears about all this weirdness. Fun fact, we used to have that old step stool in the corner. The steps sort of flip and fold out. That brings back some memories when I was a child. We used to have that in the kitchen. Next, we have Harry in his cupboard with all the shelves. We can see here an old Haynes manual. I'm not sure if we get these in the States. I imagine you do. But I remember we used to have one for a Mini, a Ford Fiesta, and I think a Vauxhall Cavalier. Well, back in those days, you used to fix your own cars. When we look up the side text, this appears to be for a Rover 2000 / it got renamed to SD1, which was last made in 1987. Although I thought the Dursleys had a new car. At least they did when they took Harry to the zoo on Dudley's birthday, when he hit 10. So that would be June 1991. If you read it in the book, it goes something like this. I suppose we could take him to the zoo, said Aunt Petunia slowly, and leave him in the car. That car's new. He's not sitting in it alone. It's down to this horrible change in the Dursleys, which I'll come to soon. So we also see a classic dustbuster and a copy of the Eagle magazine. It had a relaunch between 1982 and 1994. It's funny what you can see online. There's also his school tie in the left and a Walkman, the orange headphones. Walkman, expensive brand now. Not so much then. There's also a great one here, which is the picture of the flying motorbike. I had a dream about a motorbike, said Harry, remembering suddenly. It was flying. Uncle Vernon nearly crashed into the car in front. He turned right around in the seat and yelled at Harry, his face like a gigantic beetroot with a moustache. Motorbikes don't fly. But it's great to see these things which were only in sort of flashbacks in Harry's mind being fleshed out. Being bullied at school by Dudley and Piers, who went to the zoo with him. So, yeah, Piers went with Dudley to the zoo. Dudley's best friend, Piers Polkiss, walked in with his mother. Piers was a scrawny boy with a face like a rat. He was usually the one who held people's arms behind their backs while Dudley hit them. You can only glimpse him here in this still. He's not the one holding Harry. It's kind of a little more chunky. So going back to this whole having extra bits or things that were only sort of flashbacks. There were some earlier shots, strange shots, with Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel. and this will take us entirely outside of Harry's point of view. This does happen in the books, though. It's not unknown, but only in the Half-Blood Prince, I believe, is when it first kicks in, when Narcissa and Bellatrix visit Snape. The shots with Flamel is probably, as they're walking along the beach, it's kind of that place you give people bad news, or you have philosophical conversations in movies. So it's probably the bit where Flamel tells Dumbledore that the stone should be destroyed. This is the bit where Harry's in the hospital wing, all passed out and everything. Dudley being blonde is book accurate. Good to see. So now we get on to the head cutting scene. I found this actually quite emotional for me. And I have to say that Dominic is a far better child actor than Daniel was. Anyway, in the books it says, once Aunt Petunia, tired of Harry coming back from the barber's looking as though he hadn't been at all, had taken a pair of kitchen scissors and cut his hair so short he was almost bald, except for his fringe, which she left to hide that horrible scar. So yeah, bang on with that scene. I was also curious to see how short his hair gets from a filming point of view. That'll be interesting. But here's where I hit the first snag. I find Petunia's voice is very common and shabby. As we know, the Dursleys are all about keeping up with the Joneses, or keeping up appearances, if you want to refer to an old UK TV series. Privet Drive is portrayed as a middle-class place, with their immaculate lawns. Also, Vernon isn't as rotund as in the books. Oh, by the way, you can see a demonstration of 2 colour gradings I did here. It's a shot of with them without my colour gradings in this example. So yeah, I don't really like the way they've lowered the class. Well, it's a very British thing, but lowered the class of the Dursleys. Yeah, because they're all about trying to hide the fact that Harry's magical, and they come up with all sorts of excuses, especially later on in the books. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. I wonder what the rest of the neighbourhood's like. Perhaps they're the only chavvy ones and everyone else is posh. Who knows? So we have the letter with the green writing on it. Oh well. The envelope looks crisp white in the trailer, but it's not. It is cream, as it should be, as it is heavy parchment. I also wonder if there's a wax seal on the other side. It looks, in the pile of things that Harry's holding, it looks kind of flat. You can't see like a lump. It should be a shame if they kind of don't have that. Also in the pile, which is accurate to the books, is a card from Aunt Marge, postcard at the back, and a bill, which is as written, as it is written. I believe she ate a funny milk. She's got a dodgy tummy. But in the book, Harry dodged the spelting stick and went to get the post. 3 things lay on the doormat. A postcard from Uncle Vernon's sister Marge, who was on holiday on the Isle of Wight, which I have been to. A brown envelope that looked like a bill, and a letter for Harry. Bang on. So we skip everything else from that point, the Hut and the Rock and everything. There are shots floating around, I think, of the Hut and the Rock set that people have taken with drones. And then we skip to the underground with Hagrid. This is the day after the Hut and the Rock. I think in the movies, they all seem to go at the same time. But Hagrid stays overnight in the Hut and the Rock, and they go the following morning. That's when the post owl arrives and Harry learns about Knuts. So I like how they got like the original underground carriages with the little wobbly things you have to hold on to. Also, I love the actor Nick Frost. As a side note, Nick Frost often appears in movies with Simon Pegg, who is also rumoured to be Peeves the Poltergeist. Let me jump. Green eyes. Much clearer with the colour grading set up the way I have done it. So yes, green eyes, contacts, yada yada yada. So people stop moaning about that now. Okay, this time we're not filmed in King's Cross. They built King's Cross as a set. They do film it in the actual King's Cross back in the 90s. It looks a lot different to what it does now. Now it's got like lots of flashy signs and things that, yeah, just weren't around then. Here we have Harry standing in confusion, not knowing where to go because, well, Hagrid does a runner. Kind of assumes it was fine. So anyway, time to run up the barrier. Shot 12. Well, screenshot 12. You can see Ginny in the corner watching Harry. I missed this loads of times. It wasn't until I was getting these screenshots that I saw it. I think Super Carter Brothers missed it as well because they refer to a later scene where we first see Ginny. But no, it actually happens a little bit earlier. They're going to do a shot by shot scene, so I'm sure they'll pick it up. But we see Harry run. Now, in the shot, when we start off where Harry's looking confused, you're looking down the train shed. So you can see the tracks coming in, and then the barriers along the front. In the movies, it has wall barriers halfway down the platform. That's not how it works. With this one, it's right at the front, which is more accurate to the books because it says about the ticket barrier. So if we put this all together, the Weasleys help Harry get on the train, which is why Ginny's there, and he runs like straight into the tracks, almost like head on. So the barrier is the platform runs along, the tracks run obviously parallel, and then he runs straight at the barrier onto the platform. It's a straight run through. It's not like a train station where you come down the steps and the platform's along. You fingers crossed you come in the other way because it's the end of the line. I hope that makes sense. So in the books it says, now the third brother was walking briskly towards the ticket barrier. He was almost there. And then, quite suddenly, he wasn't anywhere. Mr. Weasley then says, all we have to do is walk straight at the barrier between platform 9 and 10. Don't stop and don't be scared to crash into it. That's very important. Right, so now I'm going to complete pig's ear of that explanation. The next scene you get to see the reflection with Ginny. Ginny's looking at Ron and Molly. Some say she's looking at Harry, but they're not. That's not how the reflections work. But it does convey that message. Now, is it one of two messages I can think of? Is it Harry and Ginny as the message, like a lot of people are saying? Or is it Harry being part of the family, because he's in the middle? So you got Molly, Ron, Harry, and Ginny. So that's a group, even though he's not actually there yet in the group. But it's reflected that way. Let me know in the comments which one you prefer. And now we jump ahead. The train arrives at Hogsmeade. Fun fact, you can actually ride this train. There is a railway near London and have this exact train running there. I saw some stuff so you can actually go and ride it. And at this point I had to cool the colour grading down a shot. Everything had warmed up at this point in the trailer. That slowly over the train scene they cranked up, made it warmer. So as Harry is transitioning from the real Muggle world to... I don't want to do the whole blue thing because it is Muggle. Anyway, transfers from the Muggle world into the Wizarding world. The colouring warms up, so it's more homely and nice. Interesting, the lights on the wall here by the telephone box. These are the lamps carried by the students to the lake. So they're popping along with the lamps. They have them on the wall. So I don't know if you see them transition to pick them up, or they just put them in there for really good consistency. They don't magically get these lamps from nowhere. They're actually on the wall, ready for them to be picked up. And then we have the walk to the lake for the first years. Obviously, other ones go by carriage. They've been there, done that, had the big reveal. So they go trotting off on the thestral-drawn carriages. And then we have see the castle, which we don't get to see yet. Looking forward to that. I like the way they're not doing it as one trailer and then that's it. That's it until Christmas. So I like the way we're getting little teasers, especially for video content. So what will happen as I go from walking down here, they'll get on to the boats on the lake. No more than 4 to a boat. They'll toddle across the lake. They come around a corner. They see Hogwarts on a cliff. Oh, amazing. And then they go to that cliff. They go through an ivy-covered entranceway underground. Underneath the castle, there is like a shore under there. They get off the boats. They go up a corridor and they come out the top of the cliff onto a grass area. In Hogwarts Legacy, they actually go into the building, but that doesn't really happen. So they go to the grass area, then they go through the main entrance to the castle. And then that's where we knock. Because we have a knocker. And in the books, there's no knocker. It's knock. Rather than clunk clunk. But yeah, hey, whatever. Upgrades. I guess it's easier on the knuckles, huh? So we go through the door, and it's welcome to Hogwarts first years. Screw with the other ones. I'm sure everyone goes through the same entrance, right? But anyway, maybe they don't. Maybe they go through different entrances. But anyway, I really wish there was a 4K version of this trailer so we can actually have a proper look. But I think they deliberately don't do one because things aren't finished in this trailer. Obviously, the VFX is not complete, and we'll find that out later. There is what appears to be a tree trunk on the left and some bushes for some reason. I That feels a little bit more Hogwarts Legacy-like. That's a bit more natural with like the curves and stuff. Then there's like symmetry with the stairs, which is nice. There's a lot of symmetry in this castle. Also in the other one, felt higgledy-piggledy. And yeah, McGonagall, and then the banners at the back. So yeah, we are warm and cozy by candlelight, or flames, as what it was in the book, which are there. There are flames there. I like Professor McGonagall's look here. The hat is kind of French style, but like the formal looking robes to welcome them. It sounds like she would dress up for the occasion to have a bit of an impact. So she's like, whoa. She's like, I am setting the tone for who she is. Brand new students, scary. Always have them in fear. Always have them fearing you. So we don't get the entrance into the Great Hall yet. We're saving that for later. So I think Lake and Great Hall entrance is being saved for a full-on trailer. Probably that has the big bad in it. Or they won't put it in the trailer and just save it until the launch. Who cares? Who cares? I care. Who knows? Assorting your hair, way more accurate as it has the rip. There's a rip in the brim as the mouth in the book. It says, a rip near the brim, open wide like a mouth. The question is, will we get to hear the song? And the song goes like this. I will not sing it. Oh, you may not think I'm pretty, but don't judge on what you see. I'll eat myself if you can find a smarter hat than me. You can keep your bowlers black, your top hats sleek and tall, for I am the Hogwarts sorting hat, and I can cap them all. There's nothing hidden in your head a sorting hat can't see, so try me on and I will tell you where you ought to be. You might belong to Gryffindor, where the brave dwell at heart. Their daring, nerve and chivalry set Gryffindors apart. You might belong to Hufflepuff, where they are just and loyal. Those patient Hufflepuffs are true and unafraid of toil. Or yet in wise old Ravenclaw, if you've a ready mind, where those of wit and learning will always find their kind. Or perhaps in Slytherin, you'll make your real friends. Those cunning folk use any means to achieve their ends. So put me on, don't be afraid, and don't get in a flap. You're in safe hands, although I have none, for I am a thinking cap. So, more symmetry afterwards. Loving the look of them as a 3. Harry's cloak has the H on it, so the actual Hogwarts emblem. I think it has like a tree woven through it as well. I think I saw it close up once. I'll pop it on here if I can find it. It's hard to see this one in the trailer without the colour grading, but you can see it is red, a dark red. The gold stripe doesn't seem very pronounced in this version. I'm sure the version I've got is the gold is more gold, and the red is not so dark. Well, I like the look. The jumpers are also dark instead of light grey, which is just as well I haven't bought a jumper yet. So there we go. I can buy a new one if they come out. Move on. Next shot. They have Slytherin banners up. So could this just be before they're going to be awarded the House Cup at the end of the book? Yeah, they're about to win the House Cup, and then obviously Dumbledore goes in and shoots that one in the foot, doesn't he? Because there were lots of points in Gryffindor. Moving on, Ollivander. So creepy. We also get to see Harry's wand, which is nice. But Ollivander is very shiny looking. But he did give Harry the creeps in diagonally in the book. It says, Mr. Ollivander moves closer to Harry. Harry wished he would blink. Those silvery eyes were a bit creepy. Now let's see the silvery eyes in this one. But he's still creepy. And then we did my favourite bit. We cut to a class with a castle being projected. Now, this is a more university-style kind of tiered seating thing. In the UK, traditionally, it was like 30 to a class. A bit like the Defence Against Dark Arts classroom in the movies. This is, of course, History of Magic. I looked at the projection on the screen and saw its castle. I was like, oh, that looks old. And I can just about see some dude in the background. So I thought I'd go and enhance. This what got me on the whole flipping journey of enhancing the whole trailer. So yes, we colour graded and changed the brightness and contrast. You can clearly see this is Professor Binns, so you can see right through him. So I guess you can't clearly see. And then we get a quick flash of a tower. So this is Gryffindor Common Room. looking up from the common room, looking up to where the dorms are. You see 2 spiral staircases either side, one of which may be the girls' one, which that turns into a slide if you go up there as a boy. And then we sort of go up the way, and then we flip up this way, and we are looking down on the common room and zooming up the tower. You can just about see the hearth of the fireplace in the corner. So I'm keen to see that, see what it looks like in the movie, in the series. God, I can say in series. Say series. And then we get Draco, Crab, Goyle, and Pansy Parkinson. She's Thai British, by the way. I find Draco's gold ring is a bit much, and I've gone for like a curly haired look. This is kind of like a bit of a tough look. So yeah, uber rich kind of thing, which matches because the Malfoys are uber rich. So the fact I don't like it means it works. Nimbus 2000, we are going for boxed brooms in the series rather than just wrapped. The books don't exactly specify if they're in boxes or not, but they do kind of allude to the fact that they're wrapped up. Draco does see that the unwrapped Nimbus 2000 is a broom, so it's not just a random square box, is it? So I assume it's a broom shape in paper. But then McGonagall does say, don't open it at the table because if they see it, they'll all want one. And if it was a broom shape, he wouldn't need to unwrap it at the table, would he? Because it'd be obvious it was a broom. So, go figure. Work that one out. Anyway, I like the change because it kind of reflects the way they branded things at the time. And it says precision, and that's swift as a snitch. We'll talk a little bit more about the broom style later. And then we step to Quidditch. We can see the Weasley twins at the back. Ginger. Positions 2 and 3. Fun fact, there are inconsistencies in the movies with the numbering. Apart from Harry. And also, there's no mention of numbering on their shirts in the book. So that's open to interpretation. I think Super Carlin Brothers were talking about one if they'll be in school robes all the time. Not for Quidditch, because they're not in uniform in this one. You can see someone has jeans. Also, they are playing Hufflepuff. So hopefully we get to see many games. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. Gives you a bit more of a journey through the year. Hufflepuff appears to have an adult on their team. I'm not sure what's going on with that guy. Anyway, moving on. This is the match that Snape referees. I think you can see him at the back. I think it may be the same clothes we see him in that still image that they launched. But everyone was complaining, oh, he's got a zip. But, you know, he's got a zip. I know most people got buns. But it is probably like Quidditch referee attire. But anyway, a zip is a zip. Don't worry about it. I mean, they were around in the 90s. They were around for a long time, actually. If you look at the history of the zip. Here's a fun one. People say about like AI is essentially racist. It is a little bit. I asked Copilot to enhance the photo and I got this. Whatever this is. So yeah, AI is a bit of a fail. Also, what is on with this broom style? Like these flat brooms. I don't like it, man. It's not to my taste. It looks much better in the movies. Maybe I'll get used to it. I don't know. Also, how does that really wide broom fit in that box? And the broom with the cross broom, how do you even box that? Some assembly required, I guess. Next we skip to herbology. Looks brilliant. I'll try to work out what lesson this is with the balls of soil. Let's see what's going on there. Yeah, any kind of idea of what lessons they have in herbology is the devil's snare. They learn about that. And they doesn't like sunlight. In this scene, like the second shot, the Hermione and the others look a bit scared. So could it be that lesson? Or it could be a mixture of 2 lessons put together, actually. If you look at the plant on the table, it doesn't look devil's snarey from what I lead to believe it looks like. So, mystery. Talking of mysteries, next we have Harry, Ron, and another random person, well, their leg, running across the house tables in the Great Hall. The only time I've ever seen this done was when Bellatrix Lestrange did it. She ran across the tables in the Great Hall. But anyway, that's much further down the line. So I'm not sure what scene this is. Well, this is a new scene entirely. Because it's daylight outside. So it can't be the midnight duel. So they're not running away from Filch. And it can't be the troll in the dungeon, because that happens at the Halloween feast. And it's also dark. Any guesses? Pop them in the comments. So now we're back on the train. This is the first train ride, as the clothes are the same. Clearly they're just picked out on trolley suites. I think I see a pumpkin pasty in the window. We also have a little glimpse of Hedwig. And now we jump to the snowball fight. And there's a Hufflepuff in the background. I've seen the books. Quirrell's got the turban on. Has Voldemort in the back of his head. And the Weasley twins bewitch snowballs to hit the back of his turban, which is funny because that's Voldemort's face getting snowballed. And then we jump to Hagrid making snow angels, which I think is quite a fun touch. It's not in the books, it's not in the books, but not everything needs to be. There's a lot of details like this. I am keen to find out why he's doing this. Could it be related to Norbert the Dragon? He gets taken to a new home by Charlie Weasley in the books. Can't remember how it goes in the films now. Or maybe Hagrid was joining in on the snowball fight. Because can you imagine the size of a snowball made by Hagrid? Because it would be like dodging bowling balls. So I kind of prefer that idea. So now we flash back to the Quidditch team with the hands in the middle. We get a very brief flash of the changing rooms as they put hands up. So we see Harry leaving the Quidditch pitch next. You can see the tail of the nimbus under his arm. There are benches at the back. And then stands for the crowd are above those benches. So it's almost like they're coach benches, or like I guess you get that like in baseball and football, like the dugouts and stuff like that. So that's probably where the substitutions are. Draco is the only one looking the other way. He looks at Harry briefly. I wonder if anything was said. There's nothing said in the books, but they probably, I don't know, they might have added something, or he might have just gone and then walked off. Now we skip to a giant marshmallow. It says in the books they had a dormitory to themselves, and the common room was far emptier than usual. So they're able to get the good armchairs by the fire. We saw that in the earlier shot of the common room, looking down with the two armchairs, well, sofas. They sat by the hour eating anything they could spear on a toasting fork. Bread, crumpets, marshmallows, and plotting ways of getting Malfoy expelled, which were fun to talk about, even if they wouldn't work. So, I don't know, I kind of like this picture. The giant marshmallows kind of like play on this. I kind of like the style of it. So we get a nice little friendship scene. Obviously Hermione's not there, so we flip over to Hermione on a different scene. Kind of joining it together, really. And then we have the dreaded Snape. Most likely when he met Quirrell in the corridor, it looks like Harry's in his cloak, so it's all a bit smeary. This whole thing with Snape is a whole potential mess. Very high risk of mixing up messages. I think this video, which I'll link below, from Casual View Productions, kind of sums up well. He goes over 5 kind of rules for race swapping characters. Basically, you should watch the video, but basically, the race must not already perform symbolic work in the story. So, like Black Panther, for example, race is very important there, which is fine in this case. It should add thematic weight and not overwrite it. The character's moral trajectory should not become encoded with harmful stereotypes if the character's race is swapped. The swap should not require systematic rewrites to avoid problems, and it will in this case. And the audience must still be able to read the character clearly. The main thing I see is, other than James picking on Snape, which has been done to death, the weird thing I find, which is odd, there are a lot of parallels in Harry Potter with the real world. So the whole pure blood thing, you can kind of have a parallel with racism, about being pure blood and all that sort of stuff. Of course, you have the things like the KKK and white supremacists, which kind of run along with the Death Eaters, kind of thing like that, because they're all about being pure. And then you have Snape, the black guy, being bullied for being black, joining the wizarding version of the KKK. Which doesn't really make a lot of sense. So yes, they're going to do some very good steering of the story, unless they are going to turn it all into racism instead. So yes, we'll see how that goes. And then we have our first showing of Dumbledore looking very much like Dumbledore with a tuning fork. The mystery is, what is the tuning fork going to be? People think it's a Deluminator. I mean, he's obviously indoors at this point of view. I think it's just a random thing that he has. He has all sorts of trinkets. And then we step back to the first meeting on the train. So we're going to go full circle. well, Dursley's. We get a peek of Ron's wand, who's playing with it. Quiet you at the back. But that part where he says, "Are you really Harry Potter?" Oh well, I love that change. I wonder if this thing is a nod to the movies, because they had a start sequence and he used to go through the scar. Yeah, and the book version of this scene is a bit too formal. I'll read you through the book version of it. "Are you really Harry Potter?" Ron blurted out. Harry nodded. "Oh, well, I thought it might be one of Fred and George's jokes," said Ron. "And have you really got, he pointed at Harry's forehead. Harry pulled back his fringe to show the lightning scar. Ron stared. "So that's where you know who..." "Yes," said Harry. "But I can't remember it." "Nothing?" said Ron, eagerly. "Well, I remember a lot of green light, but nothing else." "Wow," said Ron. He sat and stared at Harry for a few moments, and then, as though he had suddenly realised what he was doing, he looked quickly out of the window again. I like this version. It's much more friendly and more natural. I feel that the books is a little bit too formal. So that's the trailer. So we talk about messaging for a little bit, because the trailer is about pushing a message and a theme. You kind of tying it all together. So my take on this, the whole vibe for the teaser is the contrast between Harry's horrific life at Dursley's and his life with Hermione and Ron at Hogwarts. Using the cold filters at the beginning and the warm filters at Hogwarts, it's done to convey this, journey. A lot of people are judging the series based upon its colour grading. I wouldn't do that. You're probably going to find the colour grading in the series is completely different. My number one reason for this is the letter. Harry's holding that letter, and it looks white in the trailer because they have cooled down the scene entirely, that you've stripped all of the parchment colour out of that envelope. And it's important, kind of thematically, that it is parchment colour. So I reckon that is going to be completely different. But I won't put money on it. I'm pretty sure it's not going to look the same. Also, the film isn't finished. Also, the series isn't finished. They haven't finished doing it yet. For example, in the scene of the History of Magic, we brighten up the scene. You look at the paintings on the left-hand side. There's nothing in them. They're not done yet. The CGI isn't done yet. Another reason probably why they're keeping it dark, so you can't see that detail. So Dumbledore, Snape, McGonagall, and all the other professors are pushed to the side. You get only glimpses of them. The only adults we really get at the forefront, like saying stuff, is Petunia and Hagrid. And one didn't care for him, and one cried for him. Big contrast, travelling from the Dursleys into Hogwarts. So the clear message is the one of friendship. It's all about the Golden Trio and how they get together and how they become a strong bond. We don't see the big bad at all. We don't even see the troll or even Fluffy. None of the evil stuff is mentioned anywhere. So it's all about crossing from one life to another, from cold to warm, misery to joy, and hatred to love, which is the main theme of Harry Potter. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Let me know your theories as well in the comments below. And tell me, what would you rather have? Old Nimbus 2000 or new Nimbus 2000? Let me know in the comments below. And have a great week.
I told you. You are a normal boy. And you're going to start acting like one. You think you're something special? There is nothing special about you.
I've always wanted to know about my parents.
Your parents were the kindest, bravest people I ever met. They were funny and clever, and they stood up for what they believed was right. The next time I see you, we'll be in Hogwarts.
think we can expect great things from you? Let's see who you are.
Are you really Harry Potter?